JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals, the original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back, the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV, also 47 ABC WNDT and 93.5 The Beach. Don't forget our radio show airing every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Kickoff Sunday night, 8:30, network pregame at 8 o'clock on the beach. And if you want to catch our show on TV on Sunday, we're at noon on ABC 47 WNDT, or Saturday night at 7:30 before the college game of the week. And all throughout Thursday through Sunday, various segments running on Comcast Beach TV. Coming to you from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City, with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. And we want to see all Ravens fans across the peninsula down at the infamous Ravens Room. Hey, doors open at 5. Food specials, drink specials. Show starts at 7. We've got Ravens tickets giveaways, Bud Light specials, prize packages, I should say, and Bud Light specials as well, and hotel giveaways as well. And perfect timing for the holiday shopping season, so we want to see you down here. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, we've got Bucksy, Steve Slaza all on the panel here. It is Steelers week here. And I do want to ask this before I get in. I've got some numbers I want to throw out there, but I did want to get into this briefly, guys. Now that the Ravens, Bucksy, the Ravens have come on, and they've been able to be competitive and beat the Steelers, and we've split games. Occasionally, we've been able to sweep you guys. You guys have had our number in the playoffs. Occasionally. Yeah. But it seems like a little bit, though, and I could be wrong, it seems like this game, and maybe this is from a Baltimore perspective, there's a lot of build-up to this because we hadn't beaten you guys, and you guys had dominated us. But now that we've been able to even things out a little bit, my perspective is things have dropped off just a little bit in terms of this rivalry. Do you feel that way?
Well, there's no Ray Lewis, there's no Hines Ward, there's no, spitting into each other, fights or anything. But I think we're going to see Sunday night. I think Sunday night, because this game means a lot. And we're starting the second half of the season, both at, 5-3. Yeah. Whoever loses, seriously, it's a big step back if Cincy keeps going where they're at. So I think you're going to see... I know. I feel on the black and gold side, you're going to see an intense game.
Tony, with the big names not on either team because both teams are going through some transition, do you feel that way as well? Do you get that impression from RussellStreetReport.com?
I don't think it's so much the players, but Hines Ward is a lightning rod, and those kind of guys, and Joey Porters of the world. Those are the guys you love to hate. We'll figure out who they're going to be soon. But I think it has more to do with the fact that the Ravens and Steelers were both out of the playoffs last year. And that's why I think you've seen a tempering of the enthusiasm and the rivalry. But like Bucksy said, they're 5-3. The loser of this game could be in last place in the AFC North.
That's correct. Yeah. Steve, your thoughts on that? Has this game lessened a little bit in the last 2 years in your perspective?
I don't think it's lessened. I think this year it's unique because we played 3 conference games, our first 3 games, and because we'll have already played Cincinnati twice, whereas Pittsburgh hasn't played Cincinnati. So it's very different, and that's why I think in a lot of ways that Baltimore is going to be more desperate because they don't have the Cincinnati games to look to because we already blew that last week. But Pittsburgh has, not played Cincinnati yet, so they have another shot to get going, whereas we're sort of out of shots within the division.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. I think this game's more important to the Ravens than it is to the Steelers.
Well, this will be the Ravens' 4th road game in the past 5 weeks. And you guys talked about the importance in the AFC North. Now, the Ravens have won 3 of their past 4 regular season meetings against the Steelers at Heinz Field. That's hard to believe. Now, overall, 10 of the last 13 games between the Ravens and Steelers, we talked about this a few segments ago, have been decided by 3 points or less, including 9 of the last 11 contests this year or in the season. So it's been always pretty much a tight affair between the two teams. A couple of numbers: the Ravens giving up 16.4 points per game. That's second best in the NFL. The Ravens with 36 big plays. Those are plays of 20-plus yards. And the running and passing game, that's good for 6th in the NFL. Quarterback Joe Flacco against the Steelers, 10 touchdowns to just 1 interception in the past 8 games against the Steelers, where he hasn't played as well against the Bengals in his career. He's played better recently against the Steelers. Terrell Suggs has 14.5 of his 98 sacks against the Steelers, and the Ravens' average margin of victory in their 5 wins, 20.6. I don't think that's obviously happening in this game, but just some numbers to throw out. But we talk about the 3-point games, how close they are, special teams being a big factor, but turnovers, again, Joe can't have 2 turnovers in Heinz Field.
Well, I think that you read off that recently, what's last 5 out of 7 the Ravens have won against the Steelers regular season games?
3 of the past 4.
Okay, it's 3 of the past 4.
At Heinz Field.
I think if you look, it may be 5 of 7 overall regular season games. And I think part of the reason is just the stat you just spit out, the 10 touchdown passes to 1 interception. Bucksy talked about it before. It's about getting after the quarterback, and it's about protecting the football. And those are why these games come down to 3 points almost all the time.
Yeah.
And penalties are going to play a big role. And the Steelers, I think, are the most penalized.
They're the worst team
worst
in the league.
team in the league.
The Ravens
right
are
now.
7th best. Yeah.
So that's
big. Right
yeah,
there.
it is huge. And last week against Indianapolis, there was no penalty. You know, they minimal.
Yeah, last week in the Indy game, 10 for 59.
Yeah, so
but with the offensive explosion you guys
Yeah.
had, it didn't matter at that point. Yes, Steve.
I think Dick LeBeau's got to be licking his chops when he saw our receivers not be able to get off press coverage. And, us looking at Roethlisberger in the game he had last week, I mean, we couldn't be catching the Steelers at a worse time because they are playing very well right now.
Well, let me ask you, let's start with the defense, Bucksy. Last segment we talked about 3 big injuries with Jarvis Jones. Was it Sean Spence, the inside linebacker, I believe?
That was Jarvis Jones, Shazier.
Oh, that's right, Ryan Shazier, and then Ike Taylor.
And then Ike Taylor.
Right.
Shazier will be back this week. Jarvis Jones, no. You got Kiesel and Harrison, who are in their late 30s. They're getting
Early
into
40s.
Late 40s. I don't know. There might be more. Yeah, but they're finally getting into game condition. Yeah. They missed training camp, obviously, and I think the younger guys are all starting to figure out the system. It is a complex system. LeBeau runs, but you can see it starting to gel. And with Spence stepping up for Shazier, you got Harrison, Arthur Moats. You still got, Timmons is just a beast as a linebacker, and Jason World. So their front seven's really, as the Ravens, it's our back.
The back seven, the secondary.
It's
that's
the back
concern.
secondary. It's a concern.
Okay, so I mean, and that's where if Owen Daniels comes back, that'll be a help. But you're right. Now, do you think your corners would play press coverage though? Are they good enough to do it?
Yeah, I think they're LeBeau's a gambler, and like we said earlier, Polamalu is going to be everywhere on that line except back where he should be.
Tony, let's talk about our defense. Our run defense has been very good, but Le'Veon Bell is an excellent back for Pittsburgh. He can run, he can catch. He's their second leading receiver. What he did against the Ravens averaged 5.5 yards per carry. Now, we ended up winning that game pretty handily, 26-6, I believe it was, but he did a great job bouncing to the outside. We have got to contain him and keep him between the tackles.
You got to wrap him up for sure because he doesn't quit. He's got great change of direction skills. He's got power for a guy that's built like him. So I think he's one of the top stars amongst the running backs in the league. So he's definitely the X factor in this game, in my opinion. And I also think that, when you have the Indianapolis Colts did a lot of bunching at the line of scrimmage to try to stop him. And I don't think I've ever seen a Raven receiver so open as Heath Miller was the entire game against the Indianapolis Colts. So that's something that run sets that all up, and they've got to make sure that they stop that on first down.
I mean, Steve, to me, that's paramount. You've got to stop Le'Veon Bell because you get second and short situations, third and short for Roethlisberger. He can dump it to Heath Miller. He can get it to Bryant. we may double team Antonio Brown and try to limit the big play, but if we don't stop Le'Veon Bell, that's going to be easy play action pass all day for Roethlisberger.
I think it's interesting when you're talking about this game. You're always thinking 7-6, 14-13 cloud of dust. Bugsy and I were talking before the show, and he was talking to you guys as well about, both quarterbacks could have over 400 yards. I mean, both teams' weaknesses are in their secondary. And it'll be very interesting to see, which team is going to be able to, force the rush and to get the quarterback off his pins. And, that'll be the key to the game.
Bucksy, the offensive line, I mean, you guys have tried to address it. It's been very difficult. But then you look at this year, you guys are running the football pretty darn well. Not that many sacks, but that's because Roethlisberger's pretty good back there in the pocket. A big offensive explosion. Are they starting to come together?
Yeah, they are. They really are. And we had our right tackle out. Adam stepped in for Gilbert for the last 2 weeks. He's played wonderful. I tell you, as Tony was saying, it's the dink and dunk. You're going to see Heath Miller over the middle. But the big two I don't think anybody's talking about is the second and third wide receiver for the Steelers. That's Bryant, the rookie from Clemson, who's just been activated the last 2 games. I think he has 3 touchdowns. He's playing tremendous. That's in 2 games. And then Marcus Wheaton, you hope he steps up, and Lance Moore, who they picked up from the Saints. So, if all the focus is on Brown and Bell, you're going to see Ben spreads it out pretty well.
Tony, in that first game, they didn't really have that many receiving threats to go to. It was like Antonio Brown, and that was it. Now you've got Bryant emerging. We've always known about Heath Miller, who did a pretty good job against him, but they've got some weapons now. And if Wheaton's coming on, he did have a good week. Maybe he'll build on that. All of a sudden, they do have some guys. Lance Moore's a veteran, so he can get the job done in certain situations.
Yeah, I think if you look back at that first game and you look at those receivers, I think maybe their inexperience hurt them because they were pretty weak in the red zone. That's where they lost the game. The Ravens won 26-6, and I think the Steelers had opportunities which they didn't capitalize on. The Ravens did. And the Ravens also ran the ball well that game. They controlled the clock. They controlled field position. I think both teams are going to have the same blueprint to try to win the game. It's a question of who executes better.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talk about the turnovers. That's going to be paramount. But again, Flacco hasn't struggled with that, but got to take care of the football. Let's look at our running game, though. Our running game's been outstanding this year, and I've heard a lot of commentators, though, Bucksy, say that the zone stretch has been something that front seven has struggled with at times. So we'll see how that comes out. But guys, we only have 60 seconds, so need to get predictions. Steve, we'll start with you.
I'm saying the Ravens are the more desperate team and are going to come out on top 24-23.
Oh, you're very kind. We're going to watch a first football game, possibly in the snow. Hopefully football weather. We're going to see the Steelers 27-7.
Wow. Mean Joe Green does have his.
We are retired Mean Joe Green's number this weekend.
Well, unless Mean Joe Green actually plays, that's not going to make any difference in the game. It's going to come down to execution, and I think it's going to be a game where it's just hard for me to overlook the deficiencies in the Ravens secondary right now. So I'm going to say it's going to be Steelers 27, Ravens 23.
Yeah. I feel the same. There's a lot going against the Ravens in this game, and I think the Steelers end up getting it done 24-21. I hope I'm wrong. Guys, thanks. We're back next week. More of the Ravens Wrap Show. Comcast Beach TV, ABC 47 and 93.5 The Beach.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you could win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Come see us at Blue Ox.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.